It's all about quality.
Today, we're gonna jump right into quality assurance. At Masteries Brewing Co., it's always the most important item for us to make sure our product is always the best that we can put out. So in doing so, we're gonna go ahead, grab a few samples of our products that we put in, something in cans, something that's still in the tank, take it over to a TTB certified lab and see where we're at. It has to be shelf stable and a consistent product because why? These are our core beers. People expect a certain level of consistency with these products. Now let's go grab some fresh liquid off the tank. Now this beer is our Juliet, which is our mixed culture beer here at Masteries Brewing Co. Now mixed culture means that we ferment it in our puncheon using a mix of different Saccharomyces, Brettanomyces, a little bit of Lactobacillus to ferment out that beer. And now we're gonna get it out of the tank where it's been conditioning in it. On top of conditioning, we also threw 40 pounds of fresh, purified apricot. Now we give it a chance to finish fermenting it out with the apricot, condition it at 65 degrees, and now we kind of have to see where it's going. So with mixed culture, because we have so much going on with it, adding the fruit, using different strains to ferment it out, kind of difficult to tell exactly where that beer finishes off with some of the conventional tools we have here at Masteries Brewing Co. So to make sure we can really figure out what's going on with it, what that finished product's gonna look like, we're gonna go ahead and head back now to that TTB certified lab, get it tested. Hey Des, how's it going?
Hey Matt, how's it going?
Good, so brought you over some samples to get tested today.
Oh, perfect.
Cool, so where are we gonna start?
All right, so we're gonna start with your mixed culture. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spin these down, and then they do have a little bit of turbidity and such, so we're gonna put it in the centrifuge, and we're gonna start this up. And how we're gonna run this, first things first, you probably wanna know alcohol and where you started, your original gravity and your standard gravity. So this right here measures in density, and we're going to check everything out with that because you never know what you're gonna get with mixed cultures.
That's absolutely true. I mean, I can tell you right now, so we got a Norwegian Quake strain yeast in there, so there's our base Saccharomyces. We've got a little bit of lacto, as well as a couple bread strains in there. So
oh, wow.
we really don't know where
yeah,
it's at.
absolutely. Yeah, with that kind of thing, you never know. All right, so we're gonna do this, and while that's running, we're gonna open a couple of these up and see how this is gonna go. So, this is your IPA. Let's see if we can get a little bit without it getting everywhere. You know, we're highly carbonated, so we're gonna.
Can't really say I came to work today unless I'm wearing beer by the end of the day.
Oh, there's beer everywhere. This lab is a working lab. We're not going to be judgmental about beer explosions. So we used to do testing for home brewers, and we've had like beer explosions and bottle bombs, and you know, I'm used to a little bit of everything. But now we test for all the breweries with the TTB certification, and I mean that's super important as well. And we test with the FBG. So I know that you're a part of the FBG.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you out there who don't know TTB, the Tax and Trade Bureau, that's kind of the body that makes sure that we as people who make beer pay all of our taxes properly and that they get to collect it.
So what we're going to do, we're going to read this. It's using an NIR, infrared light, and we're going to push it through a little oscillating tube here. And what it's going to do is it's going to give us calorie for your can if you would be canning and need a nutrition label, of course. Give us the alcohol by volume and gravity, original and standard, which is your final turbid gravity. So we're going to wait for this to stop. So let's see what we've got here. What we'll do is just pour this in here, and you can kind of see all that leftover Brett and yeast and turbidity is there. But now we have a clearer sample. What we're going to do is we're going to run it right through here, and what it's going to do, run right through this little oscillating tube, and it's going to measure the density, which is 2 brewers, which is just gravity, same old thing.
So Ashley, talking about, we got these super fancy tools here. over at Masteries, and like most breweries, we have simple tools that we use for measuring the starting and finishing gravity. That way we can calculate our alcohol. But when you have other things come into play, like fruit, mixed fermentation, and sometimes our tools just aren't even as accurate. So super important for accuracy, quality assurance, making sure that we put out the product that we say that we're putting out. Best thing to do is come in, get it lab tested. When we're at the brewery, getting out the sacchrometers, hydrometers, and testing out our starting finishing gravities, we always have to degas the product, so it takes a little bit of time. Do we have to do that with this?
So sometimes, mostly if it's highly carbonated, we're gonna have to spin it down in our little spin plate over here. That's a heat and stir plate. So if it's really carbonated, yes, because you can't shine light through bubbles. Obviously, you're going to get a weird or inaccurate reading. Although when I centrifuge it, a lot of that CO2 comes out of suspension, and all of the turbidity and yeast and any kind of things that are left in will fall and be pushed to the side, like, you know, gravity.
Try it. So spend $12,000, save a little bit of time.
Yeah, a little bit of time for sure. Absolutely. All right. So for the solvent extraction, we're going to use our 20 mils of beer. And this is our solvent, 2,2,4-trimethylpentene, which is isooctane. Again, rocket fuel, very flammable, but super important to pull those alpha acid units out of suspension here. You can see a phase change going on, and you'll be able to see it right here. So we're going to have an interphase in the middle, the solvent, and then you have the organic beer layer on the bottom. What happens, it'll get shaken up, and all that will go together, and then at the end it separates again, and we read it, just that very top layer. It'll extract all those alpha acid units, and we'll put it on the spectrophotometer, which is right here, and it will read it in ultraviolet light. So there's that. So we have one more thing to do here. We're going to use our HCl. This is actually to acidify the beer layer. We're going to use 1 ml. Put that in here. All right. So again, that's going to acidify the bottom layer. Those phases are going to separate out. You're going to have the solvent on the top, the beer layer on the bottom, and as soon as that separates out, we're going to shake it up a little bit. We're going to centrifuge it down, and then we'll run the very top layer through our ultraviolet spectrophotometer, and that will give us our bitterness level. And that's going to read in ultraviolet, which is 275 nanometers.
Cool. I definitely need a beer.
Right?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Des, want to thank you for taking the time to, one, sample out the beer, give us a little bit of education on what, how, all the cool things that you do with the tools here that give us a better quality product.
Sure.
For everybody else out there, if you're interested in getting your beer tested here at the Three Daughters TTB Certified Lab, go ahead, hop on the Florida Brewers Guild website, go to the menu, scroll down, find the option for lab testing, and yeah, go ahead, send in your information and get your beer tested.
Cheers, guys.